There's so much energy and development talent in this country. There's one thing missing though, right? Development talent and energy doesn't make a business. So hopefully, what I'm going to be doing here today for the next 14 minutes and a half, I think, is to help you guys figure out how to turn that amazing game that you have into a very thriving business. Let's start with a couple of insights. Paid apps used to be the main monetization method. We all know that nowadays, the type of business model that is prevalent in mobile games, in most countries, especially developed countries, is in-app purchases, right? Well, according to Gartner, 93% of all app downloads this year will be free apps, and that includes games. But in 2017, they calculate there's going to be almost 300 billion downloads of apps. Now imagine what you can potentially do with 10 times the amount of users wanting to download your games and 10 times the amount of downloads for those games. That's a pretty interesting proposal, right? Let's look at, this is a different take on the same question, but specific about mobile games. This is from a study that we did with Park Associates last year, and we know that this is just a few kind of Western countries, but this applies globally. On average, purchases or in-app purchases actually account for around 90% of all money spent on mobile games. So in-app purchases is clearly the king in terms of monetization methods. Let's focus a little bit more on gaming. There's a couple of things that have been very disrupting that have happened in the world of, in the industry of mobile games in the last 2 or 3 years, and that is the advent of the freemium model, right? As a consequence of this advent of the freemium model, there's a couple of very important things. First of all, nowadays, everyone is a gamer. I think a couple of previous presenters were talking about the fact that we all have smartphones in our pockets, right? And they have become the de facto gaming platform for a lot of people that do not necessarily consider themselves gamers. So according to Newzoo, there's 1.8 billion gamers globally, and that includes all types of platforms, but mobile, of course, is the largest growing and becoming very quickly the largest segment. The second effect that the freemium, by the way, obviously the region with the largest amount of gamers is APAC. We're sitting right there, and it's also the fastest growing region. The second effect that the freemium model has had is that the focus has shifted from the cost of the game, when games were paid, to how people use your game, i.e. the points at which a user plays and therefore pays. This is true for many other types of apps, not just games, because app users have been trained to expect free. So the most important thing you can do today is to have an understanding of your users, and that's been our approach in building a platform that allows you to understand them and figure out what are the best ways to monetize those users. Once you have the users, right, and this has been reported widely as well, retention is a bit of a problem. There's a lot of numbers thrown around. I'm sure you all you know most of them. The last one I read was that 95% of apps, and that includes games, do not survive the first month in a smartphone of a user. Right? And also that the typical smartphone user actually uses 4 to 5 apps pretty much every day. So you start counting, right? One of them is a messaging platform, the other one is a social platform, and then the other 2 or 3 potentially can be your game. But there's a lot of competition out there. So let's start by acknowledging that game monetization has become significantly more challenging and sophisticated than at any point in the game industry's history. This is our sort of magic formula to help you turn that amazing game that you have into a thriving business. And it's composed of 3 parts. The first one is understanding your users. The second is growing your in-app purchase revenues. The last one is ensuring that you're maximizing revenue coming from other sources, or from one source, which normally tends to be advertising. Users are actually quite different from each other. Some users will pay for items in your game, will be happy to put money on in-app purchases. Some users will click on ads. And some will engage with certain types of ads more than others. My friend from Ad Colony previously was talking about engagement video ads. A custom monetization strategy for each user means that you are maximizing your revenue. And luckily, one of the things that we have been doing for a very long time and continue doing is building a platform that allows you to take that magic formula, apply it to these users, and ensure that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket and that you're maximizing your sources of revenue in a very balanced way. That platform is called AdMob. And currently, It is being used by more than 650,000 apps out there. It has 900 million monthly mobile devices, and it is used by 2 million advertisers globally, which means all the big brands in the world are actually available in the network. AdMob alone has paid out more than $1 billion to app developers like yourselves in the last 2 years. I'm sure that those of you who already use AdMob know this is true. But the most impressive thing is that last year, in the space of 18 months, we saw extremely high performance in every region, to the point that returns have grown 200%, and those returns keep growing. If, for whatever reason, you don't want to use AdMob, or you already are using another network that kind of offers you things that you like, you do not necessarily need to sacrifice one for the other. In AdMob, we're already allowing you to mediate more than 30 networks, and you will see some names that you probably recognize in there. Things, names like InMobi, Flurry, AdColony, Vangol. The most important thing is that AdMob is fully cross-platform. So you have a game on Android, a game on iOS, you're developing on Cocos or Unity. We are going to offer the possibility of, for you games developers, to ensure that you have full access at the platform level to our SDKs. Specifically with Unity and Cocos 2D, which I'm sure you will recognize, you have full access at the platform level to the SDKs from Analytics, the AdMob SDK itself, and in addition, the Google Play services. But if you happen to have products across additional platforms, not just mobile, Google Analytics has a cross-platform Unity plugin too, which we released last August. So if you happen to be developing a game for additional platforms outside of mobile, this is something that you can use in a cross-platform manner. The most important thing for you is that we want to ensure that we're making your life easy. And that is, what we have done is bring a number of things together within the same AdMob SDK. So now, within that SDK, you can fully access Google Analytics and all the AdMob ad network functionalities directly, as I say, from one SDK. I want to talk about a couple of ads that are very exciting for us at the moment. The first one is native ads. Native ads is a popular industry term right now, but they have long been part of how Google has helped you guys monetize your games. Ads which fit the form and function of the property that they are on. Native ads actually benefits users, the publishers, and also the advertisers. And we are still running a beta program for our partners with native ads. And this format allows you to show ads in your app from over 2 million Google advertisers and customize them to match both the form and function of your app. Native ads can provide a relevant experience to users that fits within the visual style of the app to increase user engagement. Most important thing, AdMob is actually providing different types of native ads templates to choose from, including app install ads and custom ads. When you request a native ad from AdMob, you'll receive the key elements of the ad and render it in a way that you choose within our creative and policy guidelines. We're doing this the right way, paying close attention to the user experience so ads are clearly identified and help you with engagement. The second type of ad that we are very excited about, and we started very recently, is actually in-app purchase house ads. And this format helps you grow your overall in-app purchase revenue and can create new revenue streams. So let's just imagine you have your 1, 2, 3% of users that are actually paying for in-app purchases in your game. And these are, I'm sure, numbers that you will recognize. Now, you have another 97% of users who do not necessarily pay. Some of those may actually be in the fence. So what this format allows you to do is incentivize those users with virtual currency to try to encourage them to actually start buying in-app purchases. Now, if they don't fall for in-app purchases, they don't go in that direction, the remaining 97, 95, 94% of users, whatever it is, can still be monetized through different types of ads that still integrate with your game. I'm going to talk briefly about those type of ads, so you can know a little bit of the offering and those different formats that you can access thanks to AdMob. One of them is interstitials. And a report released a few months ago pointed at the fact that as an aggregate globally, interstitials deliver better results on a CPM basis than in-app purchases. You can actually increase monetization rates 10 to 20 times by using interstitials compared to you only using banners. We have actually massively scaled interstitials on our network over the last couple of years, so you're seeing a strong effect driven by the changing format mix. But in reality, our interstitial CPM has actually more than doubled in the last 12 months. Video is something that is very exciting, as you may have heard from other presentations before. And we have actually brought the true video experience to AdMob, to mobile games. True video is the type of format that you can see in YouTube that actually allows the user to skip the ad after 5 seconds. And both users and advertisers and brands love this type of format because it allows them for very direct engagement. Essentially, it ensures that there is a line of communication between the brands and the users. Video app install interstitials also work great and drive excellent revenue. This is a full interstitials with a video preview of the app being promoted, just as an example. One more format I want to discuss with you is smart banners. This is our traditional workhorse. However, traditional banners were not a very good monetization method for games due to the intrusiveness of the ad. What we have done is ensure that our smart banners actually adapt to the form factor of the phone, and therefore they adapt wherever you are playing as a gamer in landscape or in portrait format. And finally, in terms of different ad formats, engagement ads run seamlessly across devices and different screen ads. These are banners that expand when the user taps them and enable the advertiser to introduce photos, videos, and maps. This format is actually extremely attractive for brands. This is the type of continuous innovation that enables us to attract such a wide variety of advertisers to our network, including big, glossy consumer brands. Now, I'm going to start wrapping up this explanation, and you don't need to trust me when I show you all of these formats and the possibilities that you have in terms of overall monetization for your games. You can actually see what other partners, some partners are doing out there, some developers. So these are a couple of quotes, both from Sega and Backflip, who are based out of the US. Sega, for instance, are seeing consistently high RPMs with AdMob in more than 200 countries and territories. Backflip, a big developer based in the US, started a secondary business model based on advertising last year with our help, which they have now fully integrated as part of their growth strategy. This is one I'm pretty excited about, as it is possibly the first partner globally that has implemented our AdMob native ads formats. And the game that they have chosen to launch with is Roller Coaster Tycoon 4 Mobile. You can see a screenshot with an app install ad for Zagat, which is a website very popular in the United States. And I have a quote from Atari's chief operating officer, Todd Schalvetter, that said, "Atari creates great game experiences for our broad audience. We're happy to be partnering with Google and be the first games company to take part in the native ads beta and help monetize games in a way that enhances our user experience." Another partner is Koroporo. So this is a Japanese, very popular, very famous Japanese developer. And they have used AdMob to cross-promote kind of all of their games as part of a network. After studying their approach in detail last year, we helped them choose a strategy based on using 50% of the ads of their casual games to cross-promote their core games, and also use the other 50% of the traffic, of their volume, to show paid ads. Combining in-app purchases with ads, they saw the revenue grow 3 times in 2014 alone. And finally, RockU is actually a company based out of San Francisco that acquires and manages popular mobile games with large user bases. A few weeks ago, at Mobile Games Forum in Seattle, they shared the analytics and monetization stack that they are building. And you can see it on this screen. So RockU will actually make the most of our systems and solutions to boost in-app purchases and ads, linking Google Analytics with AdMob, leveraging house ads, and using AdMob alongside several mediation partner networks to maximize ad revenues. For interstitials, AdMob is being set in an optimized position so it can compete against all demand sources, things like, or networks like AdColony, Tremor, BrightRoll, etc., impression by impression. I'm conscious that, so hopefully you will take with you today our magic formula on how to monetize. Essentially, our suggestion is make sure that you understand your users, figure out how to continue increasing in-app purchases, and find a partner that helps you monetize the 97% of users who are not paying in-app purchases. Okay? we are very conscious that you can also choose any provider for these solutions. You have people from Imobi here. You have people from AdColony, Vangol, right? I'm sure you have met with them. We're just asking that you keep in mind the premise of the idea, because it's still applicable whatever partner you choose, but give us the chance to talk to you in more detail about the solutions and the type of partnership that we can develop with you guys, the type of partnerships that we have developed with some of our partners. Before I leave, I just want to remind you of a couple of things. First of all, we have gaming partnerships teams across the world, including here in India. And I'm just going to ask my colleagues who are sitting over there at the back to stand up. So I think there's 2 more of them, right? So make sure that you approach me, you talk to them, so you can understand in more detail, as I say, the type of solutions that we can offer you. Thank you very much, guys.
There you go. So thanks very much to Sergio for that talk. Now we've got coming up some advice about how you can reward your gamers by basically monetizing your non-paying users through video ads and Offerwall from the lovely folks at Pocket. So if you'd like to come on up. And give a round of applause as well, everyone. That'd be fantastic to hear.
Small correction over here, please. I'm not the founder and CEO. That's Rohit Sharma over there, who's the founder and CEO. I'm not, so. Okay, so 15 minutes I can pretend? Okay, thanks, Rohit. Okay, can I get? Okay, so good evening, guys. I'm gonna touch on the topic of how do you reward your gamers, and the biggest challenge of how do you monetize the non-paying users who are playing your games but are not buying any item inside your game. So we're gonna talk about that particular thing over here. But before that, let's talk a little bit about the opportunity of India that we have. I'm sure all of my friends before me would have definitely given a lot of information to you guys on what India opportunity is, but allow me a couple of slides to also share with you. The biggest thing that we believe is we're talking about smartphones, because that's the business that we want to be a part of. And if you look at it, the way the things have been moving and the way we've put it over here is how the smartphone sales are happening, the shipments, and how the smartphone user base, which is by the operating systems, and clearly you can look at it, 84% is Android. Obviously, with games, we also need to look at the data that needs to be used for playing those games. And if you look at it, the data usage has also been increasing quarter by quarter. And the latest report is from January 2015, where there's been a 74% year-on-year growth. But I'm going to move very fast because I have been told to move very fast. But let me try and just put across some challenges that we think that game developers face. Especially, obviously, we're talking about infrastructure. And if you look at it, the credit card payments that we expect to happen in in-app, it's only 1.7%. And that's like one of the reasons why in-app purchase don't really help in the India or Southeast Asian market. But there's also one more thing, that it is also the intent of the user as to, does he really want to pay? So that is something that we're going to touch part in the future slides. But yes, we also want to point out to one of the most important thing where there's a strong competition for all of us. There's a lot of new games coming in. Obviously, Indian game developers have started coming into the top chart. So that's a very good sign. And I'm sure there's going to be more very soon. Yes, and to all my friends, traditional ads is equal to low dollars. And we're talking about the banner and interstitial. Yes, this is the most important thing that we think that we all would agree to is India, if you look at it, gives a lot of downloads to Google Play, but when it comes to the revenue part of it, India is at 1.6 at the least over there. But the whole idea right now is how do you monetize those players who are not actually purchasing inside your games. So I'm going to jump to monetization a little quicker. So a couple of monetization models that we talk about is obviously one is your traditional advertising, which is your banner ads. Obviously in-app items, which is the highest ARPU that you get from a user is always through an in-app. But yes, free coins, that's basically the reward advertising that we talk about. And I'm sure with all the with all things that have happened during the day, we all have a little understanding of how the whole reward advertising works. But let me tell you a couple of more things than what my friends have said. The advantages of reward-based monetization. It's obviously the user who decides when he wants to watch a video. So the banner or an interstitial which you're showing it to him, whereas when it comes to reward, he decides when to see the video ad. It also increases engagement because obviously you're going to reward him with some coins, which is obviously going to make him come back to the game and also engage him with your game economy. You retain players, so you're not letting him leave your game. He comes back inside the game, uses the coins that you have given it to him, and obviously monetize your non-paying users. So one of the good things about reward-based monetization is you can show this only to the people who are not paying you. So there's a clear demarcation that you can do between a paid player and a non-paying player. And the yield that you get, the revenue that you make out of a reward-based model is comparatively very high as compared to any other form of advertising. A little bit about Pocket that I would want to touch about. Basically, as a company, we are into reward-based mobile advertising platform where we say, Mr. Game Developer, wherever you are in the world, if you have traffic in India, Southeast Asia, Pocket is the company that you should be looked up because we focus very heavily on monetizing non-paying users from India and Southeast Asia. We founded in 2012. We have offices in India, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, invested by Jeffco, Jungle, and Singtel. A little bit about our SDK. It's less than 200 KB, so there's no thought of, will my game size gonna, increase? No. When you use us, it's gonna just have a maximum of 200 KB. It's a plug and play, so it's a very simple integration that you can do. It's a single SDK for video as well as offer-wall, so you don't have to do multiple SDKs. We support Android, iOS with Unity, Cocos 2D, Adobe Air, Corona. I think I missed out writing that, sorry. And obviously, we give you real-time developer dashboard and analytics by which you can check how much are you making on a daily basis. What have we been doing in the last 6 months? Because we've been spending a lot of time with the mobile game developers in India, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, and we've been meeting them, understanding what the game ecosystem is in those countries, trying to educate them on how to monetize their users, how to monetize from their games, and that is something which personally, I've been doing it for the last 6 months. I've been traveling all across, trying to meet all game developers, understand that market, and try our level best to monetize that. Couple of gaming companies that we would want to put over here with whom we are talking about integration. We have already integrated with a lot of them. But we also want to, I also want to put one of the most important thing because yes, we are talking about putting a reward-based platform inside your games, but the biggest challenge is, will there be a campaign inside? Because a lot of time there is a problem where you say, I have it, but there are no campaigns. And that is what in the last 6 months we've done is we've tried and meet as many brand advertising as possible. We've met all of them across Southeast Asia and India. We've been meeting them, trying to get video campaigns, and thankfully we have a lot of demand at this point of time. And something that we are working on is on supply. So demand is one of the least challenges that Pocket as a company has at this point of time. Brand advertisers is what we use for our video campaigns. So when you use one of our platform, the video platform, there's no call to action button. So it's a complete brand campaign that you're gonna see inside. And obviously we have a lot of performance advertisers because we do have our own offer wall. So there are a lot of performance advertising that we do. We have delivered almost 8 million installs in the last 6 months from our offer wall. I'll just go back to one important thing that I missed. Okay, the eCPM that we are generating out of our video campaign for you, Mr. Developer, is $5 and above. And that's something which we've done it. Now we have all the case studies to support the number that I'm putting over there. And similarly for Offerwall also we are delivering above $15 at this point of time. And that's way high as compared to any kind of traditional advertising that you've been exposed to. And why Pocket? Because we have a local developer support team. We have local guys in India, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, where we give that local support to them. We speak your language. Those are local guys. And what we are also talking about, a local ad sales team who basically goes and meet your local brands and get the local campaign. So one of the biggest thing that we've found out is that if you want a higher conversion, if you want higher revenue, it's very important to put the same language which your player understands. So putting up an English advertisement in a Thai or a Vietnam or an Indonesian game is not going to help you. And that is exactly what we are trying to achieve over here by putting a local sales team who goes, gets the local brand, local language, local celebrity, and that has a bigger impact on the revenue and the conversion and the success factor that is important in your growth. Obviously, high eCPM, the point that I touched over there. Faster payouts, yes, we have a proper system where we can make the payouts faster for you. Predictive analysis as to how is the game shaping up, what is that you need to do inside your game. We spend a lot of time with our developer partners where we ask them what is that they need. We have a game designing team in Bombay whose job is to play your game and suggest you all the touch points that are supposed to be played by the players and which is what is going to help you get more revenue out of them. I'm now going to just try and show you a couple of video samples that we've done. And I think my friend over there will just play it for you. These are the integrations that we've already done. You have a get free coins. You have all the options which normally is proposed by a developer. But we also ask you, just watch a video and get your free coins. Let's bear up with Microsoft for 19 seconds now. And it's instant reward. So the minute the video gets over, the player gets your reward. So he doesn't have to leave your game ever. And that's where we say that the user engagement and retention using one of the reward-based platforms. This is the offer wall where when you click on it, this is how you get your coins inside the game. Just download one of the application as a player and you get your coins that you can redeem inside. This is a very simple integration that we just showed you, but we would like to show you a different integration where, with the help of Tiny Mogul Games team, we did a game design level integration where before you start your game, and if you want to get used, if you want to use the armor or everything where you need to buy coins, why are you doing that? Why don't you just watch a video for 30 seconds and get the complete package that is needed for you to fight inside the game? But if you look at it, this is an Indian game, Indian traffic, Indian app. Now this is what we are exactly talking, and this is the same that we are repeating in Indonesia separately, in Thailand separately, in Vietnam separately, in Philippines separately. Now once you start playing the game, in this particular game is obviously there is a respawn that happens. I'm sure all the Prince of Persia fans are going to get connected very fast with this. Okay. So here it dies. And as in Prince of Persia, you tap and hold, rewind yourself. The same thing, but if you don't want to do it, you want to instant revive yourself. Now, if you look at all of this, again, Indian app. Okay? We are not talking about showing an international campaign over there, which an Indian does not connect.
Seagram's Imperial Blue Super Hits music CDs.
I'm sorry, I think it's a good ad, by the way. At least I can't do that. Okay, and then you start continuing playing. But again, it was the decision by the design team in Tiny Mogul to just show it once. So now if he dies inside the game, he doesn't have an option of watching the video again. So, okay, so you see the watch video is no more available for him to, check. Okay, so I just thought that it's better for you guys to see what we do rather than me talking. So if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Or you have my email ID. You can always email it to me. We have a booth. Please do come to our booth. There are very few people coming over there, so please. The outside booth, no one is around, so please, all of you, please come over there. Help all of us over there at the booths to meet you. Okay? Any questions, please? Unless Sally wants me to just walk now.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, George is going to just tell me.
It's my fault, not Sally's, so please blame me. But if you'd like to ask him any questions, please do, because that was fantastic and really interesting to see how you've gone and actually interviewed developers from all of these different countries and managed to actually adapt to their markets. But can we give him a round of applause, please?
Thank you. Thank you. Well, just to add on to his thing, I just need to tell you that in the last 1 month, personally, I have met more than 130 game developers in Southeast Asia. And that is something that I do. And so if you guys have anything, feel free to come and talk to me. I have a lot of insights to give you on Southeast Asia. Our CEO, Rohit, is here. He can give you about India. Nishant is here. He can talk about India. So all you Indians, Nishant is your guy. And Southeast Asia, I'm your guy.
That's fantastic. There we go. So yeah, thanks very much for that.